And with that, I think we're pretty much ready to begin. So let's get into it. Let's get chatting about AI-powered maintenance. So here's our little agenda for today. We're going to start out with an introduction to AI-powered maintenance. We're going to go into AI and procedure generation. We'll talk a little bit about AI and job time estimation, and also AI and anomaly detection. So 3 main topics we'll talk about today before we head into our live Q&A. So my team will be compiling some of your questions. Make sure to stay till the end for that Q&A session where we will answer those live on the call. FAQs here. Is this webinar being recorded and will I get a copy? Yes, you will. It will be sent to you September 2nd, September 3rd. We know September 2nd is a holiday, so around that time, keep an eye on your inbox. And second question here, how can I ask questions throughout the webinar? Well, you can submit your questions using the chat or the Q&A panel in the Zoom console. Questions submitted through the Q&A may be answered live at the end. So that's when you can really put me to the test. Alrighty, a little bit about MaintainX here. So our mission is to transform the way frontline professionals manage the equipment and facilities that power our world. We are building for the long term, pushing innovation in mobile workflows, real-time analytics, and open APIs. And of course, we partner with our customers. We have a world-class team here that develops and supports our products with industry expertise in manufacturing, facilities, and more. And on the right-hand side here, just a few of our favorite awards from recently, from summer of 2024. So yeah, we're very happy with those. Hope you enjoy seeing them too. Industry-leading companies trust MaintainX with their operations. And as I tell you every time here, you see names on here that are very familiar, but I like to point out that MaintainX is a great solution for a wide range of different companies, different industries, different sizes, different geographies. Be what you are, MaintainX has something that can help you out. All right, that's my intro done. Let's get into AI-powered maintenance. So a quick poll to start us out. Are you currently using AI in your maintenance operations in any capacity? Are you using any form of AI that you know of? Yes, no, or you're not sure? If you're not sure, that's okay. We're going to get into definitions and such in no time here. Alrighty, and I think we're ready for some responses there. So I'll ask my colleagues to pop that on the screen. Interesting. Okay, so 22% of you, yes, using AI. Great. 10% not sure. Again, like I mentioned, don't worry about that. We're going to be building up what AI is and how you can use it in your operations as well. And 68% no. Now, this is something I see kind of across the board with my customers is I think AI is very much, a big buzzword right now in the industry. Everyone's talking about it. But how do we incorporate that into our flows? How do we utilize it? We know we maybe should, but how do we take those steps? That's exactly what we're going to address today. So hopefully by the end of this webinar, you feel a little bit more comfortable with the AI tools available to you in MaintainX and the system that you guys have. So let's get into it. Introduction to AI-powered maintenance. The popularization of artificial intelligence, that is AI, is taking place in the broader context of the Industry 4.0 movement, which is seeing the transformation of manufacturing and related industries through the use of advanced modern technologies. So we can think of IoT, we can think of advances in automation. This is really the broader context of the industry that we're seeing. Artificial intelligence is one major pillar here. AI, of course, leveraging big data and machine learning to transform maintenance practices. Intelligence is knowing the right thing to do based on data. The more data your system has and the more sophisticated its algorithms are, the more intelligent it becomes and the more effectively you can operate. So think about AI as being a tool to help you make optimal decisions. In MaintainX, we apply this lens in those 2 categories, asset intelligence and work intelligence. By tracking everything in a CMMS, we have a deeper pool of data points that we can then use to optimize how we manage our assets and execute work, creating a cycle where the more data we have, the closer we can get to true optimization. So that's what we're seeing on this right-hand side here. We are managing our assets, we are executing work. That creates data points. When you record a work order, for example, data points are taken. That is the intelligence created here. AI is analyzing that information and then providing prescriptive recommendations. So it's making us more effective. It's optimizing us. But why does this matter? We've been doing it this way for 40 years, Mary. Why do we need to change now? Well, firstly, we have to compensate for the rising cost of unplanned downtime. So over 2/3 of industrial businesses experience unplanned outages at least once a month, costing close to $125,000 per hour. If we can use AI to get smarter, the goal is we reduce those unplanned downtimes, we save ourselves quite a few pennies there. On the second point, data is getting messier. As systems grow in complexity and diversity, centralizing data gets harder. So in order to undergo this digital transformation, we need to use more complex systems. But in doing so, we run the risk of further siloing data across a wider array of tools. So we want to make sure we're pulling everything together, using our insights to advance our maintenance practices here. All right. First point we're going to get into, AI and procedure generation. The reality of procedure generation. While there are significant benefits to digitizing your procedure library, making digital copies of your SOPs can be a manual and time-intensive process, resulting in fewer SOPs being digitized, leading to less work execution data being recorded. I'm going to pause on that first point there. Our standard operating procedures can be anything we're doing in the plant. If you were here at our last webinar, you'll know a lot about procedures now. It could be our daily inspections. It could be a monthly PM. It could be a condition-based PM, whatever it is. If we don't have our procedures digitized, we aren't capturing those data points to enable us to make more insights. Second point here, time is lost to rote digitization that could be better spent focusing on continuous improvement. So what do I mean by rote digitization? Well, I mean we sink time into menial copy-paste activities, typing out every single procedure, rather than focusing our time on impactful and strategic initiatives like driving continuous improvement. And our time is finite, right? Our time is limited. We all are stretched too thin. We all have too much to do. We know this. We want to make sure our time is spent where it's going to bring us the most bang for our buck, not on typing out a basic procedure. Why does this matter? Well, firstly, we're aging out of tribal knowledge. 57% of baby boomers, that is our retiring generation right now, believe they have shared half or less of the knowledge needed to perform their job responsibilities with those who will assume them. So we have knowledge that is aging out of the workforce now. We need to make sure we capture that information and have it accessible to that next generation that are coming in and picking up that baton. Second point here, we are staying competitive. Digitization is a top trend among manufacturers. Clear SOPs lead to advantages in operational performance and resilience. What I mean by this is if your competitors are digitizing, if they are becoming more and more effective, the choice is really digitize with them, stay competitive, or fall behind. And none of us want to fall behind. We want to maintain a competitive edge. So let's see who's still awake. How do you currently digitize your SOPs? Do you A, scan paper copies to create PDFs? B, manually create procedure templates in MaintainX? C, are you using the AI-powered procedure generation in MaintainX? Or do you not digitize your SOPs as of now, which is also an okay option? Let's answer honestly. I'll give you just a second. All right, I'm impatient. Let's see the answers there. Beautiful. So about 20% are scanning paper copies to create PDFs. About 40% are manually creating procedure templates in MaintainX, 10% using the AI-powered procedure generation, and 25% of us aren't. So for those who aren't digitizing their procedures, I highly recommend, let's go back and watch the last webinar we gave on procedures in MaintainX. It goes through a wealth of information on why that is valuable. For those who are scanning paper copies to create PDFs, that could also be useful. We cover why it is better to have the fully fleshed out procedure within MaintainX. Namely, we're getting those data points that we can then action. If you're manually creating procedure templates in MaintainX, great job, great job. That's the way we used to have to do it. But now we have this tool, AI-powered procedure generation. So let's see how we can save ourselves some time and use AI to generate procedures more efficiently within MaintainX. All right, let's get into it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you two ways of digitizing your procedures. The first way is going to be on desktop. The second way is on mobile. New feature, very excited to show you that. So just a sneak peek. All right. So if this is the first time you're seeing MaintainX, welcome. If it's not, welcome back to a very familiar screen. In order to make a procedure, we're going to need to head into our procedure library. So on the left-hand side, we go to library and then to procedures. As always, when making something new in MaintainX, we go to the top right-hand corner and click New Procedure Template. Now, we do have different options. Create from blank, that would be manually creating a procedure in MaintainX, or importing from the Global Procedure Library. But today we're focusing on how to use AI in this process. So I'm going to give you an example here. I am going to make a Delta robot daily PM. There we go. And I'm going to associate this with the correct asset. There we go. I can give it a type. If none of these seem relevant for your procedure, don't worry, just click Other. It will still generate. And our frequency for this one, you guessed it, is daily. Now we can put a description in here as well. The more detail we provide, the better it will be. That's not just saying that for fun, it is the truth. So in here, I'm going to give a brief prompt. I'm going to say, create a daily. Can I type? That remains to be seen. Create a daily maintenance procedure for a Delta robot, including any essential checks and cleaning that should be performed. Include a field to record a vibration reading. Now, this would generate a procedure as is, just with this information in. But if we want to take it a step further, we can even attach a reference file here. And I happen to have one handy. I'm going to put in the handbook. Just going to think about that. And there we go. So now all that remains to do is generate the procedure. We're going to give it a few seconds, but what this will do is spit out a whole host of different fields, and that will be the basis upon which we can then build our procedure. I'm not saying that this is going to be a perfect procedure that it will generate, but what it will give us is a foundation upon which we can make our edits and we can change things. So as you see in here, it's putting out all this information. I didn't have to create all of these fields one by one, taking 4 clicks a time, typing in everything I can think of. I've got my basis. So I'm just going to take a look at this. I love that it has a lot of inspection check fields. Those are really good in daily PMs. I really like that it's included a vibration reading, like I told it to, and that's a meter reading field. That's correct. But I want it to go to the specific meter for my asset. So that would be this one right here. Beautiful. In my mind, the rest of this is looking great. Love that it finishes with a signature as well. Could even make that a required field if I wanted to. So all I now need to do is continue here. And again, I'm going to associate it with the correct asset. And just like that, we made a comprehensive procedure in about 3 minutes, saving a lot of time. Now, I mentioned before, that's not the only thing we can do. Let's look into our newest feature I'm very excited to show you. This is our AI-powered procedure generation on mobile. So we open up the mobile, go to More, Procedures, and we create a new procedure using Quick Create. I give my procedure a title. In this case, I'm going to be making a procedure for my forklift, just a daily inspection. And just like in the desktop version, I'm able to select if it's an inspection or maintenance, if it's daily, weekly, monthly, quarterly, whatever it might be. And I can even associate with the relevant asset. If I wanted to, I could even do that by just scanning the QR code of the asset in front of me. Beautiful. So we'll go on to next. I have the option to add a photo. I don't have one right now. So we go to the next step and start entering in that prompt again, just like on desktop. In this case, I'm going to ask it to create an inspection procedure for a forklift. That includes a visual inspection, as well as checks for fluid levels and load handling. Now, if you're not The best typer, that's a-okay, me neither, clearly. You can, of course, use speech to text and just talk into your phone. Then we click generate, and just like on desktop, it is producing a whole host of fields for us here, again, providing a basis. We can go in, make any edits, and just double check that everything's looking okay for us here. Now, while we're doing this, when would we use desktop and when would we use mobile? Well, mobile is designed for convenience. We can create procedures on the go to capitalize on those moments when you realize you need an SOP for something. We don't have to go back to a desktop anymore to create this. You can do it on a go. And I love that this one is separated into different sections. I think it has all the information I need. So all that remains is to click create. And there we go. We have our procedure. It really couldn't get any simpler. Alrighty, so best practices in here. Firstly, we want to use concise, well-structured, and legible reference documents. Keep reference documents as straightforward as possible, with minimal numbers of sections and 5 or fewer pages. If using images of handwritten documents, make sure that handwriting is legible, with clear headings and indentation. If you can't read it, probably AI can't read it either. Secondly, we want to include specific details and context in our prompts. We want to describe the exact values meant to be captured in the procedure fields, including decimal places and units of measurements, as well as which equipment the procedure is for. Also include details about why the procedure needs to be performed to increase the likelihood of richer output in the procedure draft. Lastly here, review and experiment. Be sure to double check the output of the AI generator before publishing procedures. Try experimenting with different inputs and file types to optimize your generated procedure. It may take a few tries to get the types of procedures you're looking for, but once you've learned how to use this tool, you'll be a wizard at it. You'll be creating procedures in no time. And a little side pointer from me here, I really love that speech to text button. If you're moving around, if you're doing something on the go, you no longer have to sit there and type. You can just hold it up, speak into your phone, and voila, we have a procedure. So we've covered AI and procedure generation. Our second pillar here is AI and job time estimation, something I've received a fair few questions about recently, so very excited to get into this with y'all. Let's look at the status quo, always a great place to begin. Estimating the amount of time that it will take to complete a job is a manual and subjective practice. Think about it. It is inherently subjective. We take our best guess based on experience, but every single person works differently. Inaccurate estimations can lead to under or overutilization of labor, resulting in reduced capital efficiency incurred by unexpected overtime and technician idle time. And really highlight this. We want our team to be at about 100% capacity. If they're 120, we're going to have to pay overtime as we should. If we're at 80%, we're wasting our capacity. We want to make sure we fill it as much as possible without going over. And then we're looking at unrealistic management of the workforce. So without data-informed estimations, there's a real big gap in managers' abilities to realistically manage their teams, because we have to have job estimates based on evidence and clear understanding of technicians' bandwidths. Now, I'm sure we're all great managers. We are, but there's only so much we can do. We want to make sure that we're using all the data we have to provide accurate timeframes here. Work order execution data can address these shortcomings, but only if it is not siloed from work assignment tools and processes. So what do I mean by that? Well, I mean, we can know that something should take an hour and 40 minutes to complete, but if that's not connected to how we schedule our work and seeing people's capacity, that's not very useful information, because we're not going to be able to apply those insights. We need all that information together. Again, I love a why, so let's get into the why here. Why does this matter? Shrinking workforces, something we've heard across the board here. The numbers are this: 1.9 million manufacturing jobs could remain unfilled by 2033 due to skills gaps. I know a lot of you are struggling with backfilling positions right now and finding skilled labor. We need to make sure we're very effective with the labor that we do have. Secondly, here, budget pressures. The majority of maintenance budgets are not increasing in pace with inflation. Don't we know it? So again, there are simply no additional funds to grow maintenance teams. in even less margin for leaving money on the table when it comes to underutilized labor. We have to be more efficient than ever because effectively we need to do the same amount, if not more, with less. Poll here. How do you currently estimate the amount of time it will take to complete a maintenance job? Is it based on experience and intuition? Is it manually reviewing creation and completion dates of past work orders? Are you doing it in a separate system, for example, an ERP system, or are you using smart time estimates within MaintainX? Give you a second to have a think on that one. All right, let's take a look at those results. Oh, this is exciting. Good. Okay. Exactly as anticipated here. This pretty much matches up with what my clients tell me. The vast majority of us are doing it based on experience and intuition. And what I want to highlight is that this feature is not undermining your experience and intuition. It is enhancing it. It is helping you by backing you with data and maybe fine-tuning slightly. So that's great that we have that basis. Now let's build on it. Some of you are manually reviewing creation and completion dates. That's wonderful. You're taking your intuition and you're applying some more data to it. Let's see if we can automate that for you. And 6%, I'm actually surprised in that, are already using smart time estimates in MaintainX. Good on you, you're ahead of the curve. Let's see how we can do this in practice. Whoops, there we go. All right, so we're going to take a look into smart time estimates within MaintainX. Now this lives within our work orders tab. So we're going to go to a work order. And of course, we're going to need a work order here. So let's make a work order. And I'm going to do a daily compressor inspection. If you come to a lot of these webinars, you'll know I always do daily compressor inspections. I'm not very imaginative. We're going to add in our basic information. For example, I'm going to add in my daily inspection procedure right here. I'm going to choose who to assign it to. I'm just going to pop that to myself. I'm going to put in a due date. And I'm going to put in a due time as well. Let's say that's going to be due at 4 p.m. today. Start date also today. Start time, let's say 3 p.m. Beautiful. My recurrence here, of course, is daily. And I'm going to scroll down. I'm going to need to make sure that I have my asset in here. And I'm going to want to put a category in as well. So this is an inspection, daily inspection. Now, let's scroll back up here. All right, inspection. Online, there we go, category inspection. We're going to create our work order. All right, so what we're seeing in here is the automated amount of estimated time. It will automate to 1 hour that this is going to take. Now you could change this and you could put it in manually. You could say that's going to take 55 minutes. But what if we wanted to make it a little bit smarter? What about if we wanted to use AI here to help us out? Well, we can absolutely do so. All we would need to do is take a look into our estimated time and make sure that we have smart time estimates enabled. So I'm just going to reopen that up. There we go. One moment, my computer is being incredibly slow with me here. This is the time where you make elevator music. One moment. All righty. And my system is deciding to be difficult with me today. However, when we see our estimated time section right here, it will give us an opportunity to create that using AI. Now, there are a few things that we need to be able to create a smart estimate. And as you can see, mine doesn't have it in here because my system is being difficult with me today. What we're going to need is a procedure. So we have our procedure in here. We're going to need a category, so an inspection. And we're also going to need our asset. So we have our air compressor, we have our procedure, and we have our category in here. We're also going to need to have done 3 work orders in the past to be able to generate a smart time estimate. Now you have the choice. As I showed you, you can put it in manually right here, as a lot of you are currently doing, or you can have the system calculate that for you. When it does, if you decide that isn't accurate, if you decide you want to change it, you can default it back to your basic time amount here. So let's say we have our work order and we have our estimated time in here. What do we do next? Well, as I mentioned, we want to make sure that this data is not siloed from our work assignment data. So we're going to head into our workload view right here. And within our workload view, we can see what capacity our team has coming up. As you can see, I'm the only person that does any work here. So I'm going to go into my open work orders right here, my due work orders, and I can see what I've got coming up. Now, if I have my daily compressor work order here, we can see it's estimated it's going to take me an hour and 30 minutes. Now, I have an hour and 30 minutes, but the rest of my team isn't really doing anything. So I'm going to take this and I'm going to reassign it to Tom, for example. And what we can see there is that the assignment times, the capacity that my team has, will update accordingly. So what we've done is we've taken our estimated times. We've then combined that with the capacity my team has to make sure we get as close to 100% as we possibly can. Now let's extrapolate this. We're seeing here a few work orders. Imagine we have, as you do, tens, dozens, hundreds coming through every week. When we're using AI so that we can see exactly how much time something is going to take down to the minute based on our previous data, we can really get creative in here and we can make sure we're getting as close to that 100% across our whole team as possible without going over. So let's hop back and across here. Best practices here. We want to associate work orders with procedures and with categories. So when smart time estimates are enabled, including procedures and categories on work orders unlocks the added benefit of making job time estimates more accurate. Essentially, we're looking at everything historically here. As I mentioned, it takes data from the previous work orders that have been completed. Hopefully more have been completed in yours than mine. And it's going to look at our procedure, it's going to look at our asset, and it's going to look at our category to say, okay, when this procedure was done before, for this asset, with this category, it's typically taken us X amount of time to get it done, and it will apply that and give you the suggestion. Second point here, enforce time tracking on work orders. Time logged on work orders is the heaviest weighted data point in the formulation of a time estimate. Requiring that time be logged on all work orders will boost the accuracy of smart time estimates. So there are various things that the system looks into in order to generate for you that estimated time. If it doesn't have enough data, as we saw, it will tell you it doesn't have enough data. It's not going to pluck something out of nowhere. It's going to take it from your historical information. However, of all of the facts that it's looking into, the most heavily weighted component is how much time it has previously taken, because that's what's going to give us the best information, right? Something might take 40 minutes at your facility that takes 55 minutes at someone else's facility. So we're going to look at how long that has taken your team in the past and use that as the main component. Third point here, make manual estimates when smart time estimates are unavailable. If there is not enough data to make a smart time estimate, it's still worthwhile making a manual estimate that can be referenced by the AI when generating estimates for future work orders. And last point here, use the workload view to plan work based on labor capacity. Leverage the full benefit of smart time estimates by using your accurately scoped work orders to capacity plan with precision. Beautiful. So we took a look into procedure generation. We took a look into smart time estimates. Now let's take a look into anomaly detection. So the reality of anomaly detection. Even with a diligent regimen for recording values from your equipment, simply having the data is only half of the battle. Without a method to analyze the data in real time, technicians may unintentionally input incorrect values, resulting in unclean data. It is also not possible to take immediate action informed by historical values if we don't have a way of analyzing that right away, right? What this means is there will continue to be a gap between your data and the immediate action necessary to head off equipment failure, right? We want to make sure if something is going wrong, if something is off, we address that right away. We don't want that to just slip through the cracks. Anomaly detection will highlight this for us. Why does this matter? Human error is common. We know this. The average error rate for manual data entry is between 1% and 4%, which can have outsized effects in high volume industries. Think about how many work orders that would equate to, how many inspections that would equate to over time. Secondly, here, condition-based and predictive maintenance are the future. They're becoming more common, with both forms of maintenance being highly aligned to Industry 4.0. Implementing more mature forms of maintenance, such as CBM BDM, are required to stay current and competitive. We talked about this a little before. If everyone is moving ahead, we need to move ahead as well. Otherwise, staying still puts us behind. So, with that in mind, another poll for you here. How do you currently monitor for anomalous values in your maintenance procedures? Is it A, manually checking historical values, B, automated review of readings in a separate system, C, anomaly detection in MaintainX, or D, do not? And again, if you don't, that is okay. Just pop the information in there. I'll give you one more minute. All right, let's pop those responses on the screen. All right, so we have 1/3 of people manually checking historical values. We have just over half not doing so at all. And we have a combined total of about 12% using some form of detection, whether in MaintainX or another system. So let's address this. How can we do this within MaintainX? Let's take a look into anomaly detection. Back into my main screen here. So we are going to take a look into a work order. Let's pick this one, for example. Put it in progress. And as you can see, I have a procedure in here. It's my annual inspection. It's very simple. Just have to do a couple of check boxes, and then I can put a reading in here. So let's see. So as you can see, look at my last reading here. We're looking at slightly different values, and the system will tell me that this value is outside the range you usually enter. A decimal point may be missing. Oh, they're correct. I didn't mean to do this, so I meant to put a decimal point right here, 12.25. There we go. We're looking good. The warning has gone away. We now know this is a reasonable reading, and it's spotted. Maybe I made an error. Maybe I didn't quite type it correctly. I've got slippy fingers. That's okay. All right, we fixed it. What about if it is just falling outside of that normal range, though? What about if it isn't actually a mistake? Well, I'm going to say that I recorded a value here of 25.64. Again, it's going to ping up a warning for me. Historically, this value has never been higher than 15. Now, if I tried to close this work order right now, while a warning is prompted, I won't be able to. I have to either double check it and correct the amount, or I say, no, this actually is correct, and I mark it as an anomaly. When marked as an anomaly, I can add in a picture, and I can even enter a note. There we go. Now, we're going to put that as done. And there you go, we get a pop-up right here. There is one anomaly in this work order. Would you like to create a corrective action? Yes, I would. Now, if we aren't aware, a corrective action is a work order that is tied to my original work order, automatically has the priority of high assigned, can automatically have myself and any escalation teams we have determined assigned. So everyone can be notified right away, something has happened, and we need to make sure we go and take a look into this and fix whatever is going wonky. So again, we're making sure that things aren't slipping through the cracks here. Now, I'm going to show you how we can configure this, how we can set it up properly. We're going to go into our settings, and we're going to go into features. We're going to head into work orders, and I am going to scroll down in here until I hit, there we go, anomaly detection. We want to make sure that this is put on. And you see here we have corrective actions on flags, including anomalies. We want to make sure that we have this set to either none if we don't want them. Really don't recommend that. To automatic with a prompt, just like it gave me. We had an anomalous data point and it said, would you like to create a corrective action? If you decide whenever you see an anomalous data point that you just want it to come up right away, automatic without prompt, it will immediately generate that corrective action work order for you. So again, we've noted immediately something has gone wrong, and we've put in place our paperless paper trail to show we noticed something, we assigned that work order automatically, one of our team members went and checked it out, everything is now okay. Best practices here. First point, use meter reading fields in your procedures. It's a big point. Meters are the best way to log equipment readings at regular intervals. Embedding meter reading fields in your procedures allows technicians to feed readings directly to a meter without having to exit the work order. The full reading history, including any anomalies, can then easily be accessed from the meter and attributed to specific assets. What this is to say is that we'll be able to see those trends over time. We'll be able to see anomalous data over time. And it's right there for our team to put things in. They don't have to navigate directly to the meter and then put the reading in. It's part of their daily, quarterly, monthly, whatever it might be, tasks to do. Second point, make confirmed anomalies actionable. It's all well and good to spot a problem. If we don't action them, we're not going to get very far. So you want to adjust your procedure settings so that technicians are automatically prompted to create a corrective action work order when an anomaly is confirmed. That's what we were just seeing in our settings. This way, maintenance will be immediately assigned to address the anomaly and head off a potential equipment failure. That's what we're doing here, is we're trying to avoid unplanned downtimes by noticing something before it happens. That is true predictive maintenance. That is where the entire industry is headed. Let's be a little ahead of that curve. All right. This is my scary part of the webinar, so I'm going to ask Zach, my colleague in customer education here, to come on and ask me some of our questions for today.
Well, thanks for that intro, Mary. Yeah, I've got a list of about a half dozen questions for you here, so hopefully you're ready and they're not too tough. We're going to start with a question about AI procedure generation. So as you demonstrated, when creating a procedure, you can give a prompt that includes information about what type of procedure you're looking for. But can you say a bit about where that information is coming from in terms of what's informing the output there? Is the AI just looking at procedures that are created within MaintainX, or are they pulling from other sources outside of MaintainX to inform the procedure draft that it generates?
So the system is pulling from a wide variety of sources within here, and it's going to take the information that you put in. So no matter how much or how little we put in here, I'm just going to open this up and show you. Even if I put in barely any information, I'm just going to put in compressor inspection. I would like a compressor inspection for my team to complete daily, including a visual and functional test. Even if we just had, say, this information within here, you could still put this through and generate a procedure. It's better to have more information. It is. If you have that from, say, your manuals, your handbooks, from whatever wealth of information you have, that's great, put it in. But even if you only have a couple of points here, pop that in there. The system is learning as we go, and it will put out this information for you nevertheless.
Okay, great. Next question. And you can kind of show this when generating the procedure, but if I include instructions in my procedure, will the AI include those in the draft that it generates? And could it even capture images?
Yeah, totally. So you could put your instructions in, let's go back. You can put your instructions within the prompt. If you have your instructions already, say in a document or in a PDF, you could attach them as a reference file. And if you have a picture, you can attach it as a reference file as well. Or as we saw on a mobile, you can snap a picture as you go. So yes, you can put those in there and it will capture that information and it will include it. Again, maybe you need to make a few tweaks after the fact, but it will give you that basis to go in and work from.
Okay, great. Very versatile. Next question is about the smart time estimates. So you may have mentioned this, but again, just so everybody can hear it, how many entries or historical work orders are required in order for the AI to generate a smart time estimate?
You're going to need around 3, and it will build and it will become more efficient over time. So like the mistake I made when I was making mine, first work order made in a chain. We need to make sure that we have some data for the system to go off. So make sure you put in a couple. 78% of you, I think it was, said that you're using intuition as it is now. So use your best information that you have for your first few, and then you'll see the smart time estimates pop up in blue, and you'll be able to utilize that to make some insights. So only a few, and then you'll be good to go.
Okay, awesome. 3 work orders. That's not too bad either to start getting some data backed information in your work execution flow.
Yeah, not too many at all.
Yeah. Okay, similar question, but for anomaly detection, how many entries does it take for anomaly to detection to kick in? And then follow-up question, are anomalies just based off of meter readings, or are they can they also be detected based on other fields?
Great question. Typically 10 for it to start putting out anomalies. And yes, they're based off meter readings specifically. It's not informed by other fields. It is based on the historical data points you've put in. So if we just take a look into my system here, and if I go into meters, what we can see, seal readings. Actually, let's just go on this one, 6 months. There we go. So we have a range of different data points here. It's seeing what falls outside of this range. So we need to have a fair few in there at first. I'm saying about 10, so that it knows what an anomaly is. Because otherwise, let's say we're looking at run hours, for example. If we based it, interesting graph for run hours, if we based it based only upon 3 readings, it's going to tell us everything's an anomaly because that's constantly climbing up. So it's going to see what the trends are, what the overall pattern is, and it will use that to tell you when a meter reading is anomalous.
Okay, great. No, it looks great. Yeah, it's a high volume utility there, right? Kind of just turn it on, set it and forget it, and then you get a ton of those data points, making for a very long-term and robust data set to make flag those anomalies from.
Exactly.
I think you touched on this in your demonstration, but the next question is, if there is an anomaly, can it be flagged to an escalation team?
Yes. So in the sense that when there is an anomalous data point recorded, it will generate that corrective action, right? And we have corrective action escalation teams in MaintainX. So when you are creating a team within the system in teams and users, we head to teams, we create a team, and you can say if you want it to be notified about a corrective action. So yes, we can have it notify them.
Okay, awesome. Great interplay there between some of our other user management and team related functionality. Okay, I've got one more question. This going back to smart time estimates. If I were to edit the estimated time on a work order, will the AI update the smart time? Actually, sorry, I think I maybe misread this question here, or there might be an extra estimate in there. If you edit a work order and return to it later, will the AI update the smart estimate in real time based on the edits that you made?
Yeah, so if you edit a work order after the fact and add or change information in a field that Smart Time Estimates uses, MaintainX will update the estimate. So as a reminder, the fields that it is using to generate that estimated time, it's looking at the asset, it's looking at the procedure, it's looking at the category, and it's looking at historical time that's recorded on work orders in the past to then further that information, right? So yeah, if you go in and edit one of those fields, it's going to change the Smart Time Estimate accordingly. So you wouldn't have to go then another step, manually update it.
Gotcha. Okay. So if I went back to a work order and I swapped out the procedure, MaintainX's AI is smart enough to know that, okay, there's a different procedure, there's a different set of time we need to look at here, and it's just going to refresh that.
Exactly. That's why they call them smart time estimates.
Nice. Mary, that's all the questions I have. So I will turn it back to you to wrap it up.
Beautiful. Thanks, Zach. So let's go over just a little summary here with our key takeaways. We had 3 pillars that we looked at. Firstly, cutting down on the time it takes to digitize your SOPs using the help of AI. So overcome the barrier presented by the manual and time-consuming task of procedure digitization. Let AI handle the grunt work so you can focus on refining your procedure drafts and driving process standardization throughout your maintenance program. This is what I was saying. Get more bang for your buck with your time. Don't spend it on just inputting different procedures. Have the system do that for you, and then you can focus on the more insightful changes you want to make. Second point here. Make precise labor capacity plans using smart time estimates. So remove the guesswork about how long it will take to complete a job by using your work order data to make accurate estimates. Use AI-generated estimates to help you balance the workload across your team in order to minimize overtime and idle time. Realistically manage your workforce with data-informed job time estimates. Leverage built-in anomaly detection. Third point there. To proactively assign maintenance and keep your data clean. So when coupled with AI, your wealth of historical equipment readings make it possible to catch when erroneous values are entered and take quick action when true anomalies are logged. These steps can help put you on the path to implement condition-based maintenance and predictive maintenance as well. Again, we're assigning maintenance at the first sign of any failure here. We're heading off any unplanned downtimes. We're staying ahead of that curve. So AI procedure generation, smart time estimates, and anomaly detection. Those are your three best friends when it comes to AI and MaintainX. And we will be developing further AI features as we go. So stay tuned for our release updates in the coming months. A little recap here of the resources we have available. You have your Feature 101 and Office Hours webinars where you can learn live from a MaintainX product expert. It's myself and my colleagues. We do our Feature 101s monthly, and we do our office hours typically bi-weekly. We've taken a little pause for the summer, but we will be coming back strong on September the 5th. So if you would like to have an open forum there for asking any questions, that is an hour that you can pepper me with questions, and I will do my best to answer them all. Second point here, MaintainX Academy. Learn at your own pace through certifications, guides, and courses. There are so many helpful pieces of information on here, particularly when it comes to training your team. You can even see all historical webinars logged on the Academy as well, if there's anything you want to dig into further. And finally, MaintainX community. Learn from other maintenance professionals through discussion boards. So if you don't want to hear from MaintainX anymore, we're already all in your ears. You want to just speak to each other, feel free to do so. Chat on forums there and get advice from other industry professionals. Thank you so much for attending. One final please from me, please remember to fill out your 1-minute survey following the webinar. Your feedback helps us make these sessions the best they can be. I truly mean that. We want to hear all you have to say. This can help us with future webinars, making sure we're providing content that is specifically tailored to your needs. So please do fill that out. And from myself and the rest of the team here, have a wonderful rest of your day. Thank you so much for attending.